Fujifilm Instax Mini 12 versus the Instax Mini Evo. These are kind of the polar opposites of the Fujifilm Instax lineup. So the Instax Mini 12 is a brand new camera. It came out in March of 2023. This one is also quite new. It came out, I think, last year in 2022. They're very, very different cameras at very different price points. So the Instax Mini 12 is one of the cheapest cameras. This one costs $80 brand new. And this one is, I believe, the most expensive Instax mini camera that's made by Fujifilm, and this one costs $200. This is a traditional camera, so it's a traditional analog camera. What that means is, when you turn on the camera, here is your subject somewhere, the light travels from your subject, so let's say from my face, it travels into the lens and straight through the lens onto the film inside the camera. And then once it's exposed, the camera spits out the film from the top, and you got your picture. This is also a very simple camera, there are no other controls. But this is an analog camera, so straight from the light through the lens onto the film. This is not an analog camera. This is what they call a hybrid camera. So what this means is that you have a lens in the front, but what this is essentially a very small digital camera. And when you turn it on, what happens is you take a picture, it travels through this tiny little lens into a small digital chip, just like in your iPhone. And on the back, you have a screen, and then inside here on the top, you have a printer for the film. So what this does, it takes a digital image, just like your phone, on a very small chip, so your phone is much higher quality than this. And then once you have the digital image, you can print it through the internal printer. The advantage of this camera is that it gives you a lot more control because of the hybrid nature, and also it allows you to take pictures on your phone, on your iPhone, and then you can send it straight from your iPhone onto this and print it images from your iPhone. So that gives you a lot more different options. I really like the design of this camera. It's really a lot of fun, but it is very different beast than the analog, unpredictable nature of the Instax Mini 12. So let's look at each camera in a little bit more detail, and then we'll go into the sample images. So as I said, the Instax Mini 12 is very, very simple camera. There are very few controls. So to turn on the camera, you twist this front ring right here. If you really want to see more details about all the different features and how to set it up, I have an unboxing video and like a setup video. So you turn on the camera, then you have the indicator light right here, and then now you can take pictures. So you look through the viewfinder, you frame your shot, and then take a picture. The only other control you have is you can twist this ring a little bit more. So right now it's set up to take normal pictures from anywhere from 2 feet to infinity. If you want to take close-ups, you twist this ring a little bit more, like that. It extends the lens a bit more, and now you can take images from 1 to 2 feet. Those are the only controls you have on this camera. So the close-up versus normal, and that's it. Everything else is automatic. The flash always fires when you take a picture. It uses 2 AA batteries, super simple. Sometimes people have problems with the battery, so I highly recommend using high-quality batteries like Duracells. But overall, this is a super duper simple camera, great for kids and for people who don't want to think about photography too much. They just want to snap pictures and have some physical prints. So now let's go to the Instax Mini Evo. So this has lots of different options. So you have a shutter button right here. You have also a shutter button up here. You have a flash, you have a selfie mirror. The 12 also has a selfie mirror, so that's great. And then when you are taking the pictures, you have also different options between what they call film simulations and lens simulations. So when you turn it on, you can kind of rotate this ring right here, and it allows you to do different things like half frame, normal, vignette, soft focus, blur, fisheye, color shift, and things like that. If you want to see more details about this camera, I have lots of videos. I'll link them in the description below. Then you have this ring right here, and that allows you to do like film simulations. So it's like retro, blue, red, so you can do lots of different types of pictures. So overall, you have 10 lens options. Well, everything is digital. It's like a filter in Instagram. And you have 10 film options. So overall, you have 100 different combinations. And also in the back, you have lots of different options. So you can do turn on and off with the flash. You can do macro. You can do different white balance. So just like a digital camera, you can control the exposure. You can make it darker or brighter. You can do a self-timer, so you can be in the picture. It's really hard to take a picture of yourself in the group like with this. You can only do like a selfie, but you can set it somewhere and then walk away. This camera also has a tripod mount, so you can pop it on a tripod, then set the self-timer, and then be in the shot with your friends. So overall, lots of different options. But what is the problem with this is that it looks great, has lots of different options, but it kind of takes away the magic of the Instax because it's essentially a digital camera. One good reason to buy this camera, if you love the look of it and you like the retro thing of it and you want to kind of stay away from your phone. But if you just want to take high quality pictures and then you want to get physical prints, you're probably better off to take pictures with your iPhone or any other smartphone that you have, because those pictures are going to be a lot better than these, and then print them either on the Evo, but you can also save half of the money and just get a Instax Mini printer and print them from there. But now let's look at the sample images between the Instax Mini 12 and the Instax Mini Evo. What's interesting is that when I was taking the sample shots, and I did a comparison between lots of cameras, so I did a comparison between the Instax Mini 12, Instax Mini 11, Instax Mini 90, which is right here, Instax Mini 8. So I took images with each camera at 5 different spots, and all of these kind of spell the pictures on the spot. But here I didn't even bother printing the pictures because I can print them right here at the comfort of my own home. So that's definitely an advantage, and you can save a lot of film, so you can take a bunch of pictures and then only print the ones you want. So let's now look at the sample images. So the first image was of a bright landscape. I live in the Alps, so it was really bright. It was like midday sun. And with the Instax Mini 12, it was a little bit overexposed. And here I took a picture on the Instax Mini Evo. So it's a digital picture. Also took a picture with my iPhone. One difference is that the lens on the analog cameras is a little bit tighter than on the Instax Mini Evo, which is actually good because on the Evo, you can always zoom in. So I have the picture. It's a little bit of a wider view that we have on the print. So what I can do is before I print it, I can zoom in a little bit on the picture. If you want to print the picture, you have this really cool lever here and you just crank it like that. And it's really satisfying. I really like the design, what they did here. So, and now it's printing. So it actually takes a little bit of time. So it gives you like an animation of printing, and now it's coming out. So what it's doing is taking the digital image and has a printer right here, and it's printing it on the print. There it is. So we'll give it a couple minutes and we should get the print. Okay, so I printed all the images from the Instax Mini Evo. So let's look at them right now. So first one was the bright landscape. So this was a landscape in a bright sun. And the images are quite different. The picture from the Instax Mini 12 is a little bit overblown, and so is the image from the Instax Mini Evo. So they're both a little bit overblown, and the details in the clouds are gone. So the clouds are just straight up white. One thing that is interesting that the sky on the Instax Mini 12 image is this beautiful rich blue, and on the Instax Mini Evo it's kind of like purplish, magenta-ish, so not so great. There's definitely a lot more detail on the mountain in the background on the Evo print. On the Instax Mini 12 is essentially all blown out. On the Evo you can see a nice crisp detail on the mountain. I'll show you a close-up on that on the screen. And in general, the building in the foreground is a lot sharper on the Evo print compared to the Instax Mini print. But generally, you wouldn't use the Instax Mini prints like an exhibition for super sharp landscapes. If you want sharp landscapes, take images with your iPhone or even like a big digital camera. These are more for kind of fun and have the right feel. If you're finding this video useful, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot to grow my channel so I can bring you more Instax theme videos. Next image, let's look at a close-up portrait. So here I have an image of from the Instax Mini 12. This was taken as close as I could go. I actually used a tape measure to go exactly 1 foot from the lens to the nose of my son. And so this is as close as you can go with the Instax. And the image is nicely exposed. You can see kind of like a flash shadow behind him because he's close to the wall behind him. And this picture was taken with the flash. But overall, the quality is really nice. He's very nicely sharp, and is properly exposed. But what is nice on the Evo print is that before you print the picture, you can zoom in as much as you want. So I was able to fill the entire frame of the image with my son's face. So this is really nice. It gives you a better composition than from the analog camera from the Instax Mini 12. But overall, I like the print from the 12 better. I think the quality of the print is better because it's like a nice glossy, it looks like a nice picture. Evo is it lacks a little bit of a pop, and if you look really closely, you can actually see the printer lines. I think for most people, they would prefer the Evo print because his face is bigger. But there are also some advantages of the Instax Mini 12 print. The next one is an indoor portrait. So this, I would say, what is the most common scenario for taking pictures with the Instax camera. So you go to a party, you bring your camera, You snap a bunch of pictures and then you can hand out prints, and people really like this. What I have is my son kind of like mid-distance, maybe 5-6 feet away from me, sitting on the couch, and behind him I have some ugly lights that we have in the apartment, and this is a common scenario you will see on a party. So you can't really control what you have in the background. You have a bunch of different lights, you might have a kitchen there and things like that. The pictures look very different. It's very interesting. The Mini Evo did use a flash, but the flash on the Evo is like a LED flash, so it's not as strong as the xenon flash on these cameras. So overall, the sensor kind of compensated for that and made everything a little brighter. On the Instax Mini 12, you can see the background, you can see the lamp a lot better, and the picture from the Instax Mini 12 look exactly like a picture that you would take from the 80s or 90s before digital cameras were common. The Instax Mini Evo print actually does not look that good. The background is completely blown out, and even my son, his face is kind of like washed out a little bit. So neither of these pictures are actually great, but I highly prefer the Instax Mini 12 because it has the kind of 80s, 90s vibe of the old times, it kind of gives me nostalgia compared to the Evo print, which kind of looks lifeless. The next one is outdoor portrait. So I had my son sit on like outdoor furniture, which was, I guess, a little bit difficult for the cameras. I didn't really realize it when I was taking the picture. So the furniture is a little bit dark. His shirt is pretty dark. It's a dark blue. The wall in behind it was kind of like lightish or middle tone green. And the Mini 12 print is overexposed. It looks okay. It doesn't look great. Some of the other cameras did better. But the Evo print is very overexposed. I'm really surprised how poor the Instax Mini Evo did here. The picture from the iPhone looks just fine. Much better performance from the Instax Mini 12 in this case. I would say the Evo was a big failure on that one. I probably wouldn't print it if I wasn't doing this test. And the last test shot was a landscape close to sunrise, so maybe half an hour before sunrise. When I was taking the picture, it actually looked really good with your naked eyes, and also looks really good on the phone. But it's because our eyes and also the phone are really good at balancing different levels of exposure. So the mountains were still in the sky, so they're kind of bright, and the foreground was very dark. But to our eyes, it looked very nice and nice saturated colors. But it's just too much for the Instax cameras. The Instax Mini 12 did a very poor job. The mountains are blown out. The building in the middle is kind of dark, and it's also kind of soft because there wasn't enough light. And the foreground is completely dark. So that doesn't look good at all. The Evo did much better. The mountains in the back are still blown out, but the building is very sharp. So the digital camera did a great job, and you can also see detail in the foreground. So definitely much better performance from the Evo. So it seems that if you're trying to take pictures of landscapes, the Evo would be a better choice. But again, if you're taking pictures with the Evo, you might also want to consider what you want to take, just take pictures with your smartphone. What I think the Instax Mini Evo is good at is if you want to really experiment with photography. You can have all the different lens options and the film options. So it gives you like a highly edited look, similar to like Instax filter. So if you're into that, this would be a great option, because you can't really get that in any other way from the Instax analog cameras, because these are analog. So whatever the scene is, that's what you're gonna get. But overall, which one I would recommend? So if you just want simple prints, cameras for kids, if you are not super into photography, you just want some physical prints, definitely get the Instax Mini 12. It's great. It's very different from taking pictures with your phone, so I think it's nice. I take lots of pictures from my phone. It's probably my most used camera. But sometimes you just want the simplicity, and for those times, the Instax Mini 12 is good. If you want to experiment and do funky things, and you don't mind the hybrid nature, the Instax Mini Evo is great. I do think it is the best looking Instax camera. I love the styling. It looks like a camera from the 70s or 60s. So I love the design of the camera, but I'm not a huge proponent of the hybrid nature. So for me personally, I probably would not buy the Instax Mini Evo if I wasn't making YouTube videos on the Instax cameras. I would probably prefer to buy the Instax Mini 90 if I wanted to experiment more compared to the Instax Mini 12. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next video.